Yeah, hello, I'm Jor, and I'm very happy to have Johannes from Facelift on this session. Hi. Yeah, with Facelift, we have a partner that enriches the SendShare portfolio in a wonderful way. The need to publish media assets from SendShare into the social media channels is, of course, something that has been requested very often by you. But it's not only about pure content creation, it's more about the complete planning and contribution. So in combination between SendShare and Facelift, you have the strength beside the central content management, also the structured output to the social media channels. Actually, I'm just very happy to hand over to Johannes to introduce yourself, please, and give us an overview of the capabilities of Facelift, and especially, of course, about the smooth integration between SendShare and Facelift via the Headless CMS API. So, Johannes, the stage is yours.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and thank you for the kind introduction. First time Ecosphere days for me, so hi again. I mean, you already know my name now, and you are already said what I'm going to talk about, but you don't know yet what I do at Facelift, so I'm going to just give you a very short intro. I also put a business professional picture or business casual picture on the slide, so you know what I look like when I'm in the office. Haha. No, actually, home office, as all of you, still happening also for Facelift. What do I do in my home office? I lead the product and the content marketing team at Facelift. I was also in product management and did a lot of demos in the past for Facelift. So I'm very happy also today to show you how SendShare and Facelift work together, or how I put it shortly for the slide, to put the dam in social media management, or the digital asset management into social media management. That's what we're going to talk about today. So let's go. Funky PowerPoint animations. Before I show you how it works, I want to give you a little bit of a context around the topic. Some of these things are going to be obvious for you, why social media is important. I hope there may also be one or two new facts in there. I'm also going to talk a little bit about what Facelift does in general. I hope to do this in a interesting way and not in the, hey, you should buy our product kind of way, right? So I just want to explain what is the value of having a social media management tool, etc. All right, so this one is more like a general truth, and you see it on the picture in the background of the slide, right? It's from Online Marketing Rockstars in 2017. So let's say the past 3 to 5 years, depending a little bit on the industry, doing business on social media is normal. It's a reality, right? Basically no matter of B2C or B2B brand, uses social media in one way or the other to achieve corporate goals. This can be customer service goals. This can be brand reach goals. This can be actual sales goals, right? But there's one way or the other how brands and organizations can do business on social media. And obviously, this is also because everyone is on social media. And this is why social media, obviously in Facelift's opinion, but I guess for your companies, your organizations as well, it usually is an integral part of marketing, sales, customer service for a lot of organizations. Sometimes it's still small teams, sometimes it's already bigger teams, sometimes it's distributed across multiple geographies, sometimes it's a lot of people in one place, but there's not just the working student for social media anymore, at least that's how we encounter it in our reality. It's usually that there is already a higher grade of professionalization. This is also usually where Facelift comes in. And as I already said, social media is not only ubiquitous for brands, it's in general, when you think of the internet, you think of social media. Internet users are social media users. Basically, again, everyone who's online is also online on at least one social media network. And people spend a lot of time on these social networks, around 2.5 hours a day. And as some of you may know, there is countries where this is a lot higher on average, right? Germany, for example, is one of those countries where social media usage is below average. Globally, let's look at Latin America, for example, or Asia, people spend a lot of time on these social networks, yes, for personal reasons, but also for their everyday business. In some cultures, social media is a lot more integrated into the everyday acting of like buying groceries, going to the haircutter, etc., than it is, for example, in Germany. And one truth that was there, let's say 10 years ago, that there's only going to be one social network, because why should I use two? If all of my friends are on the one, I would not use the second one, right? If I want to connect with people, it's not true anymore. Today, multi-platform use is common. People actually use an average of 8.5 different networks. And the same goes even for messengers, right? At the beginning, if you remember, this was either you use WhatsApp or you use some other kind of messages, but I'm not going to have 2 or 3 on my phone. Like, this is a lot of work, especially younger people nowadays. They fluently switch between Telegram, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Snapchat, etc. They don't care, right? People have lots of apps on their phones. They have them with them all of the time. So it's also important, obviously, for brands to be present. I don't usually say that you have to be on all of the channels all of the time. You have to pick a goal, what's relevant for your organization. You have to then also focus your efforts and provide relevant content. And this is something that is especially in the last like 1 or 2 years, and may have also been accelerated with the pandemic, is the rise of authentic content. Because a lot of more things are happening digitally. It's not enough anymore to just put my brand out there. I need to tell authentic stories. I need to be present with content that resonates with the audience, that is not just, hey, here's my product, it's really cool, you should buy it, but that tells an actual story. And this is also where I think a SendShare and Facelift integration is super valuable, because if you also have if you already have a repository of good images, good content, then spreading this through social media is very valuable. Right? Because scaling in digital content is very important, because I have multiple channels, but I cannot create unique content for all of them. I can adapt content to different networks, but it all comes from one base, right? And creating this one base in SendShare, for example, and then publishing it to multiple channels via Facelift Cloud is just very time-saving, efficient, and goal-oriented. And as I already talked a little bit about what does Facelift Cloud do, in general, what we aim at is that all of this process is easy for you. That we build software that enables organizations to create measurable results. We want for you that you can easily have an impact on social media. That you feel like you're on a rocket ship and it's just like. And this, again, is where SendShare comes in, because if you're already organizing your assets or your product information in an efficient way, then it just makes sense to use the system also within Facelift Cloud. And we do know that there's some customers that are SendShare customers that are also Facelift customers. We do know that there's some customers who could use SendShare that are Facelift customers, and the other way around. For Facelift, our most common customer is that one that is already in some way or the other grappling with a challenge of complexity. And they want to reduce this complexity. The complexity can come from multiple locations, so you have lots of shops. The challenge can come from multiple geographies, so you're active in multiple countries. But the challenge can also just come from the sheer amount of assets or people that you need to work with, right? And that you easily use an overview. And these are usually also the customers who work well with our product, because that's how we build Facelift Cloud. It's meant to overcome this challenge of reducing complexity, at the same time being very reliable, scalable, and secure, because we know that's important for our customers. And as SendShare does, we also want to offer rapid time to value, because if you're spending a premium price, at least for Facelift Cloud, then you also want a premium product, and that's what we believe we should deliver. And to make this a little bit more tangible for you, what kind of customers am I talking about? So you can maybe also evaluate, hey, is this a valuable use case for me, right? Is this something I should look into? When does it make sense for you? There's one segment that is about scaling content to localized branches. Think of your Edeka, your Carrefour, your automotive retailers. Your maybe if you're a news corporation, you have a central news team and you want to distribute to many localized newspapers, for example. That's something that we enable, that you have central content provision and then distribution into multiple locations. The second segment is that of financial and public institutions. So this can be government offices, especially on the Länderebene and the federal level, right? And what's really important to those customers is that we have a proven track record in security, in data privacy and reliability. Because sometimes you want to use software not just to distribute content, but you want to make sure that you have governance within your organization. This is also often the case with digital asset management or product information. Things need to be accurate, right? You cannot have an incident where people distribute the wrong information in their communication, and then in the worst case you get sued, right? So having a governance structure across my social media channels that I cannot usually have if I don't use third-party software is something that you can use Facelift Cloud for. And as I said, this is banks, insurances. I think the examples come to mind directly. And the third segment that I put as an example is that you want to have brand ambassadors. You have a lot of people in your organization that don't really know how to use social media and you want to provide them with content. The example I have here is that of Talanx, or better HDI, Haftpflichtverband Deutsche Industrie. What they use is a social share app from Facelift. They launched it for their sales executives, and very short summary, they were very happy. It helped them to increase the brand image, especially on the regional level, was a very effective way for them to distribute content. And this is also very easily done via SendShare and Facelift Cloud, right? Because you have this one image with the same text, but you want to give it to 100 people to distribute it on their private social media accounts. What do? I create the asset in SendShare. I then distribute it as a content template within Facelift Cloud, and then people have it available in the social share app, and you just spend like 3 minutes, 4 clicks, and it's already there. Everything is approved by legal in advance, so you're out of the dust. Yeah, you're good to go, right? And this is the point where we're going to switch into actually looking at, okay, how does this work in reality? And we're going to start with UR and the SendShare part. How do I set up the assets in SendShare in order for them to be available in Facelift Cloud?
Yes, so thank you, Johannes, for this interesting introduction. And then I will share my screen to start the process in SendShare, so to speak.
It's also really interesting for me. I'm not a power SendShare user, so everything I'm going to see is also interesting to me.
Very good. So I will keep it actually short because the show is yours. So the show is in Facelift, and I don't want to waste your time, so to speak, to present SendShare itself. But of course, it starts in SendShare. So what I have prepared for this demo today is that I have created some images, collected some images here and videos that I want to use in social media. So that I want to use in Facelift at the end. So this is my overview about the collected assets I want to share, to publish to Facelift. And what I have done for that is that I have selected all the images I want to publish, to share, and added these assets in one bulk. And I just set a flag, the so-called output channel. And you see here that the set output channel is already set to Facelift Cloud. And in this moment now, immediately all these assets that I have selected and flagged are available via the headless API to be consumed by Facelift. And that's actually how it works. So this is the preparation work. Of course, there might be some workflows and whatever before, but that's not a topic for today. So in this moment now, all these assets are available to be consumed by you, actually. And that's, so to speak, the handover to you again to show how these assets will appear in Facelift and what you will do with them.
I have one question. Sure. First of all, this looks super easy. It's like 2 clicks, mark all the pictures, put the right channel. Who would you say usually is the person who does the work in SendShare? So who would upload the pictures in SendShare? And do you think this is in the end the same people who would also be the social media managers who also work with the content, or is this 2 different roles when you think of your customers?
Yeah, I think this really depends on how you are organized, right? So how big is your team and how is your team maybe distributed? Is this one team that is working with in the context of this marketing material, for example, or do you have, for example, external agencies managing your social media and so on? So this is really very different, I would say. In SendShare, of course, I'm in the DAM area here. So it's all about digital asset management. And then it really, I would say, depends who is at the end the person or the role managing this data. And is it maybe the same or is it a completely different role and person who then takes over in Facelift?
Yeah.
And for me, it doesn't have to be the same user having an account to SendShare and Facelift, for example. It can be totally different user groups and target groups.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense. It makes it really flexible because, I mean, in the end, the only thing I need to do is to be sure that I put the right output channel in SendShare that is also connected to Facelift Cloud. So the person working in SendShare needs to know this. But in the end, they don't need to care who uses the assets in Facelift Cloud. And obviously, I can define in Facelift Cloud who should have access to these images as well, right, with the team structure, etc. So I think that makes it really easy to configure, right? No matter what my setup is for my organization, I can make it work because there is no too fix of a frame. All right, I will share my screen. I will steal it from you again and switch to Facelift Cloud.
Go ahead.
So basically what you can imagine now is that the person who worked in SendShare, as we just learned, now transferred the assets basically to Facelift Cloud. What you now see is the start page of Facelift Cloud. I'm just going to give you like a brief tour of what you can see so you can orient yourselves. So obviously the assets are not on the start page of Facelift Cloud now. They're in the media library. Before we go there, I'm just going to quickly open the menu here on the top left. And as you can see, Facelift is also built in a way of different products, different solutions. So you have a planning and publishing tool for your campaign planning, for your content publishing. There's a moderation area, which is for customer service, etc., which also uses assets from the media library. So you could even transfer assets to be used in your customer service team. There's a dashboard. The start page, for example, is a dashboard, which is for analysis, same as the reports and benchmarking products, which is simply to analyze, what kind of impact are you having. You can advertise, you can watch trends. And what we are going to look at now is the media library, where we want to see if those images that you are just shared with us have already arrived. Facelift media library is, it's also unlimited storage, right? And you can put categories, but it's nothing compared to an actual digital asset management system, right? So that's why we also, when we see customers who have higher requirements, that we refer them to a professional provider like SendShare, because our specialty is social media management and not asset management. Anyways, so on the top right, you can already see the SendShare button. SendShare 2.0, right? Even better version. I'm going to open this asset picker. And as we're in a demo environment, we set up a generic case, right? So for you and your organization, you can usually customize this to your needs, right? Depending on what kind of things you want to do. And surprise, surprise, the yellow chair is already here, right? You just saw it in SendShare. Now you have it in Facelift Cloud. Obviously, if you wanted to, we have some simple filters here. These can be extended. You can search by a name. Yeah, you can search by date. You can limit the number of assets you want to see. In our case, I think we put 20, so the limit is not really necessary. But if you have thousands, right, you might want to see just the first 100 results before you load everything into it. And that's pretty easy. You look at the pictures, you want to use the pink balloon, you want to obviously use the yellow chair, and you want to use the stool. And as you can see here on the left, my assets are picked with the different titles. this can have more meta descriptions, right? If your asset in SendShare has information about, for example, the channels, like the social media channels that it should be used on, or there might already be some kind of a caption added to the asset, you can also transfer this. In our case, we just went with the title. I press upload. I can choose a category within Facelift Cloud. I'm just going to put furniture. We're in a, by the way, I didn't mention this, our demo environment is a large global furniture retail company that you have heard of. It's called Space Outfitters. So everything's furniture themed, right? It's a retail example, but obviously this could also be something else. So we're going to pick the category furniture. This is relevant later when I want to filter the images in Facelift Cloud. I'm going to add those. As you can see, they're already loading. Oh, it's already there. Okay. So we have the pink chair twice now because it was already there before. So it's not a mistake. It's just that the images kind of reappear sometimes because we use generic pictures. Anyway, you saw that the pictures are loaded. They're now available within the Facelift Cloud media library. And now I'm going to go over to publishing and look what I can do with these images, because obviously the first thing that I would think of to do with an image is to create a post. So we just opened the editorial calendar within Facelift Cloud. It's the monthly view. If we wanted to, we could also switch this to a weekly view, and then we get preview images as well. But right now, it's not so much about editorial planning. We just want to create a post. That's the main action button on the top right. So I'm going to click on Create Post. Post creation window opens. And now I'm going to check if I can use this picture to create a beautiful looking post. So I'm not going to put in all these general informations here because right now this is not relevant. What I want to do is I want to add a file. So I'm going to see the media library again, and I'm going to find my yellow chair right here. Going to put this to my post. What I can already see here is it's a pretty large picture. So I might want to edit this, or I want to give feedback to my SendShare manager that he should please give me assets that are already predefined, but that depends on your workflow, right? You can have the network specific edits within Facelift Cloud. You can make them beforehand, no matter what you want to do. So I could edit this here if I wanted to resize this image, for example, to a little bit of a smaller image size. So not 100, maybe 1000. I'm going to apply this. I have resized my image. I'm going to apply my changes. I'm going to save this as a copy. And then I can use this image for my social media channel. It's loading again my assets. So I'm not going to use this one anymore. I'm going to use the new one. So just one image. Add this to the post. I get instant preview. Now I could put a copy, write a cool text and some hashtags and some profiles, etc. Not something we're going to do now. I think you can imagine how it works. And in the end, you can schedule or post or whatever. Now, this is a workflow where I just get the image, and then I can create the post around it. So I give people the freedom. What I can also do is I can pre-prepare articles in SendShare, something that you can probably check out yourself. And then you can go to the SendShare feed within Facelift Cloud. And yes, I want to abort this post creation. It's not very interesting, just a chair. You get the pre-prepared articles that are defined to be published via social media. In this case, it's just 2, to be not too confusing. So apparently Space Outfitters is also doing a beauty campaign and does something about traveling. And then I can simply click one of these pre-prepared articles. So I'm going to use a travel picture because, I want to get outside again after sitting inside for a year. And what you can see, it's already automatically a link post, in this case for Facebook, with the link, the text, and like the simple information that was now provided. Obviously, this can be enriched in your case, for example. And I basically don't need to do anything right now. I could just publish this straight away. In case it's already quality controlled, but I could obviously also edit it. If I needed to, there can be approval flows within Facelift Cloud. So there can be a 4 eyes principle, etc., depending on what you need. So as you can see, it's pretty straightforward. Define the channel within SendShare, have the asset within Facelift Cloud, create your post. Or if you have pre-prepared articles, just pick the article and publish it on social media. It's pretty easy. And I guess we're also available now live to answer some more questions, but I'm going to transfer to Joar for some last words, if you want
Closing
to,
words.
before this recording is over.
Okay. Yes, thank you, Johannes, for this cool demonstration. And technically, I'm really a fan of this integration because it's using the headless API in the background, and that's exactly what this API is meant for, to not only connect users but also applications to Sensia. So technically, I'm really a big fan of this integration. It was really fun to work on that, but I think also for the customers, for our customers, this brings a really big value in this combination. And yeah, so thank you for this session, and I'm really looking forward to take the next steps with you together.
Yes, me too.
And, yeah, so yeah, and for all the others, yeah, let's meet in the expert room to discuss maybe potential questions or things you want to ask. So yeah, hopefully see you in a minute.
Yes.
Thank you all.
Thanks.